All right, my friends, Brian here with VetteSource, sequestered in the garage tonight with a huge amount of downpour. Not a huge amount, but moderate downpour all day here in Houston. And did not get outside to do what I wanted to do, which is take care of work that's running me down because I've got lots of stuff I need to do, tear down. But I figured I'd go ahead and not waste another Saturday and kind of make a video here to show you guys a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about my affectionately nicknamed Corvette here, the Thor, the 427 Corvette. So if you've followed me or been around with me for a while, you've seen this a few times. This car is actually the channel avatar that I use. This is that picture that you see when you go to my homepage and you see this car. But what I was going to do is kind of talk a little bit more in depth about it, much like I did a few weeks ago or last month when I talked about the 96 LT4 car here, that we talked about interesting trivia about these C4s. So I was going to give you a little rundown, of course, if you haven't seen it. And I got a link at the top there if you haven't seen that video. But what I was going to do is talk a little bit about this 427, or the 67 Corvette in particular, 427 just being the engine option. So for those of you that don't know a lot about the Corvette lore or the history, the C2 generation, you've got 8 generations of Corvettes. The C2 is the shortest production run of all the Corvette generations, with only 5 model years being produced. The 63s, 64, 65, 66, and 67s. And of these generations of cars, these were designed by Bill Mitchell, who also designed the thinking off the top of my head, the 63 Riviera, the Buick Riviera, and he also co-designed with David North, the 66 Tornado, which among the 60s, these 3 cars' body styles are considered to be really distinctive from what they did. So, of what they accomplished. Now, the funny thing about the 67 Corvette, the last year of the C2s, the mid-years as they're called among the Corvette people, is that this 67 was actually supposed to be the first year for the C3, the 68, that you know now from 68. But what happened was there were design problems with the 68s, the C3s, so what they did is they held over production of the C2s for one more year. So if you'll remember me discussing in that previous video, I talked about how the engineers continually try to make improvements to the Corvettes. In 67, they went ahead and decided to make several improvements to the 67s, the last of the generations of the C2s. And frankly, what they did is now considered by many auto enthusiasts, auto historians, to be the best Corvette, most beautifully designed Corvette that has ever been built. Now, obviously, I cede to people having different opinions about different Corvettes, but I will say that regardless of age, background, where you're at, when people see this car, it stops them dead in their tracks. There's something about this body style that's distinctive. In the 67, they were able to condense a lot of the features of these cars into something that just, rang true to people. In fact, guys, there are Corvette diehards like myself that don't even consider Chevrolet even made a Corvette after 67. As far as they're concerned, the 67 was to throw the mic off the stage and walk off. Throw the mic down on the stage, walk off the stage, because we're done. So what I'll do here is I'll kind of go over the differences and what they did with the 67 that made it, so cool. So the first thing they kind of looked at, obviously, was they cleaned up the front end of the car a little bit, okay? So you don't have the Corvette Stingray or the Corvette by Chevrolet emblem on the front. You don't have the side fender emblems anymore. They also went in and they redesigned the side gills, much like they did on the 95 and 96s. The 95 and 96s, I think, took a cue from the way they did with the 67s, and they put that different. You see there's 4 there, and of course there's 4 vertical this way, going this way here. So this 67 is a one-year-only design. I've had a lot of people have revamped their 66 and earlier cars to look like a 67 because it was so popular. So they also went ahead, let's walk around the back of the car. Let me sneak past this Big Block 427 I have sitting here, if I can get through here. They also went ahead, ow, that garage door's in my way. The backup lamps are right there on the car now. They were not there before. They were located in the inboard tail lights. The inboard tail lights were the backup lights. Now they were here separately here. They also redesigned the gas door itself, and the emblem is different. So this is just a natural background with the emblem, the Corvette emblem on it. They did a few other little tweaks along the way. I'm trying to get past this engine again, guys. And for exterior, that's pretty much... Oh, the other thing they did too was they added these 6-inch rally wheels. 63 to 67s, unless they had knockoffs, they came from the factory with hubcaps, which honestly are not my favorite on the Corvettes, but that's just the way they did it. So they have the... these are the first year that they had the 6-inch rally wheels. 6-inch or 7-inch? I'm forgetting. But these are the first year with the trim rings and the center caps, so they're pretty cool looking. They're not bad. Now, this is also the 67s. This is the only year that they had the Stinger 427 hood. Now, this hood is not on small block equipped cars. This is only a big block thing, and that's, of course, you'll see the 427 there that denotes, obviously, the cubic inches. Did a video a few months ago talking about the 427 specifically, and in 67 there were no less than 5 different 427 engines available for these cars. So this is the only year that you'll see this hood on one of these cars from the factory. Also, this is the only 420 or only Corvette or C2 Corvette that has a tri-power 427. Now the tri-power 427 that we talked about, like I said in that other video, was a 3x2 setup. It was only available for 67, 68, and 69 in Corvettes. So this is the only C2 that actually has that tri-power setup. Now what they also did was, moving on to the interior, which some of these are kind of more creature comforts that they took care of. Let me see if I can climb in here without hurting myself. Let's see here. Or hurting the car for that matter. Alright, so getting in here and looking around, you can see these are really pretty interiors. They've got full carpet all the way through. You've got... let's see if I can get this one-handed. Let's see if this will work. You're just not going to cooperate, are you, guy? You've got a storage compartment back in here. You can hear how well insulated the car is. And then the original storage compartment is my original seat back over there that I replaced. But it's very well kept, very well organized. Now the other thing they did was, keeping my notes so make sure I don't miss anything here. They did a couple of things. So first off, when you come in and you look at your instrument stack up, they did some things that changed locations of things. So your hood release cable or handle is in a different location. And then they moved the parking brake assembly over here to the center console, where it was more intuitive. Before, it was actually over here where you'd pull it out, right? And another little cool feature is that the seat belts actually attach right here like this and can be placed out of the way if you're not using them, right? So that was very cool what they did there. The dash was actually redesigned, even though it looks very similar to the other Corvettes. It does not have the grab handle anymore over here that the passengers used to be able to grab. They eliminated that, probably more for the fact that people were grabbing them and messing them up. They probably had a lot of difficulty in that, you know, with braking. They also, all the knobs in here are all chrome plated, flash chromed. They also went ahead and all the knobs on the dash itself are different. They're more of a soft contour with a ribbed edge. Just little detail items they did. They also did a cool thing. You can see this one because my headliner is one of the few items on this car that's failed. So if anybody watching has a white original headliner for a 67 Corvette, call me, let me know. I'll buy it from you. So they actually had a vinyl with a foam backed headliner that actually had recesses built in for the sun visors, so they would actually tuck up into there and lay flat inside that. It was kind of a cool little detail feature. Now they also offered, this car does not have it, but they also offered headrest seats with the car. It's kind of a safety feature, and you can get the optional shoulder belt harnesses, which this car does not have either. So of course you see here your AM FM radio is just a sideways kind of thing. And of course your 4-speed here in very good, position. What's really cool to me about the 4-speeds in this car is if you look here, the throw, all short throw shifters are all the rage right now. Look at this. That's first, that's second, third, fourth. This is short throw straight up from the factory. So it's really pretty cool. And I like that mechanical linkage. The other thing they did, which was interesting, that was not available before, was, I think hazards may have been optional in the 66s. I just don't remember. But you have the hazard warning flasher right here, which was a new feature that was available. And I know now that flash to pass wiper, or not wipers, but turn signals are just something that we all take for granted. But 67 was the first year that you had flash to pass wiper or turn signals. So if you just pulled up on it just a little bit before the detent, you could actually flash to pass when you were going around somebody. So all in all, it really made for an incredible package. And what's funny is that production decreased for this car because everybody was anticipating the C3, the Mako Shark design, which was had been leaked already out to the public. And so there weren't as many people that bought this car, not because it wasn't still popular, but because it was just the last of the C2s. So of course everybody rushes to what's new and popular. You can see that especially with like the C8, right? But then, these 427, 435 horses were always a special car, but it wasn't until probably 7 or 8 years after they came out that people all of a sudden was like, wait a minute, especially as the government regulations came into play, they started to realize what they were missing in their cars. Now I will say, because I've dismantled and salvaged out and restored and done thousands of Corvettes over the years in my career, this is probably one of the best periods of well-built Corvette that I've experienced. Now, it's very rudimentary. We've talked about this before, but there's even crazy things like, I think it's this door jamb. I've got runs in the paint from the factory because this car has not been restored. This is an original car. I think it's on the passenger side. But you can hear even now, this car is, what are we looking at? 53 years old, right? And this car is as solid as the day it was built back in 1967. This car was built, actually, its birthday is February 26th or 27th of 1967. It's one of the 2 days. I don't remember specifically. But even now today, by the late 70s, these were becoming very hot commodities, especially as the restoration craze took off. So a lot of people started coming after these cars or trying to find them, especially these 435 horses. In fact, a lot of times they're like, you'll see the LS6 Chevelles now. They're recreated, they're redone. A small block car was turned into a big block car. So there's been a lot of coercion and manipulation in the market. So cars like this that are natural and original, even though it's got battle scars on it, the paint's not perfect. There's certain things, my headliner, things like this. These are what we call in the business honest cars because they don't lie, right? Now, they're obviously in 53 years, there's things that have been changed and replacement parts have had to be made because no machine will last forever. Even in stasis, machines will just deteriorate. The best machine is actually one that's been driven. But so by the late 70s, when these became more popular, in the 80s, the valuations started to go crazy, take off on these. So this car, exactly, this one here, the original owner paid $4,278, if I remember correctly, because I have the tax receipt from Bexar County, because this car has never been out of Texas. Now, as the time has gone on and things have progressed, these have become commodity, basically, like a commodities. And I'm not going to get into heavy-duty finance with you guys because you don't watch me for a finance money channel, but even though that's my background. But these cars, for quite a long period of time, were six-figure cars. And the problem with this is they become commodities. They don't get driven. They are hidden from sight. They are pulled off and on trailers, and they're pushed into shows. they're graded, they're ooh and awed over, they're looked at. But the saddest part about all that, even though everybody loves to have for something to have value, is you're keeping this beauty of this design from younger generations of seeing it. I mean, it's a fabulous design. I love my C3s, and you guys know I love all Corvettes. But there is something about a 67 that just makes, especially Corvette gearheads, their heart go pitter-patter. This is like the needle in the haystack find for most of the Corvette guys. And, I've been blessed in my business to have this as a piece of inventory for quite a long time, which I'll probably get into and tell you guys a little bit more of that story later. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working on this guy over the next few months. I'll probably upload some more videos as I bring it back out of hibernation. And I think what I may start doing is putting some video camera equipment in here, and we're going to go take some drives, guys. I really don't think it does, old Thor any justice to sit here, with his hammer silent, the hammer being the motor and not going anywhere. So, if you guys are watching and you think there's good roads to drive on here in the States, because I can't take it overseas, let me know where the best spots are to drive. I would love to get this out and start driving it around and just going for cruises, because that's all of what it is to me. I like to drive, like working on them. I love to drive them. So I'm going to wrap this up tonight. I noticed I've been talking for 16 minutes straight. Didn't mean to go that long. But let me know what you guys think of the car. If you'd like to see me do some more stuff with it, I will. Obviously, there's other pieces of inventory that I can play with here, and we'll talk with them, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.